Hello, good morning. It is Morning Coffee with Steve, episode 214 for Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. I'm Steve Saylor. This is your daily show of gaming news, accessibility news, or updates about my life. I have my coffee here in my hotel room. Again, not bad. Here's the thing. It's like I've never really had like a bad coffee in a long time. Uh, Probably maybe Tim Hortons I've had a bad coffee, but I think it was probably because I don't really like dark roast that much, and it kind of had the only one that tasted similar to what original Tim Hortons coffee was sort of the dark roast. But even again, it's not a bad coffee per se, but it just let's just say I haven't had a bad coffee in a while. So even hotel coffee, it's not bad. Uh, all right, well, it is the day after the election. And yeah, the news isn't super great, um, if at all. And I didn't. It's not that I didn't think that Trump would lose, but I didn't like, or that, or I don't know. I just didn't think that. I thought that people would have. I don't even know what this. I don't even know how to say it. I thought that I thought that I thought that based off of what Trump was like in the first time, that it would have sort of emboldened more people to be like, I don't know if I can take another 4 years of this. And it's looking like that's not the case. Pe- People are very uh, wanting that kind of government, wanting that kind of leadership in the States. And it is definitely not lost on me that I'm a Canadian visiting the States this week, and you can feel. Yesterday, you could feel the tension. Pretty much everybody that I was with yesterday, we were all basically trying to distract ourselves and not go on our phones to basically doom scroll. And we held off as long as we could until I got basically back to my hotel room and I started looking at my phone again, and everything just kind of the sentiment was just that of anxiety and stress, and then eventually um, heartbreak. I think is probably the word, a better word for it. And I definitely feel that too, because especially with working in the accessibility field, a lot of people sort of see inclusivity as a four-letter word. Basically, DEI is kind of considered a it's sort of been co-opted as just as bad as using the word woke. Um, and I'm afraid for what this might do to pressure companies to go away from that, especially if it starts to hurt their bottom line. That's when uh, because there are and here's the thing, it's like there are people that definitely fight for DI every single day. I mean, like without like without any with not a lot of support, they definitely fight for it. We put our blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that games are available for everybody. That's basically what it really comes down to. It's not necessarily about making games for people of color or making games for people LGBTQIA. Like it's not just about that. Yes, it is great to be able to see your life represented in a game. I think that we kind of all want that in our entertainment. We want to see ourselves in, at least to a certain degree, in our entertainment, and video games is no exception. But also, it just DEI really comes, at least in video games. I can't really speak to anything else beyond that. DI in video games, it just means that we just want to make games for everybody. And that doesn't mean like watering down anything or making things for the average, like the average gamer, whatever that even means anymore. It's just trying to be able to make it so that anybody can be able to jump into this hobby that we all love. If you really break it down, we love video games. I think it really comes, even the people who hate everything about the video game industry right now, it, I would like to be able to think that there is a love of video games somewhere in there, because obviously it's it breaks down to, it is a hobby. Yes, you can be able to make money off of it if you're a content creator or streamer or people even working in the industry. But at the vast majority, we play games for fun. We play games for enjoyment. We play games for entertainment. We play games for art. And why can't that art sort of reflect everybody, including people who don't usually get the spotlight? Again, I've yet to really see a full, like a lot of examples, even just on the disability side, of just people being like represented within video games, unless they're in a wheelchair, and even then, they're not really they're never really a playable character. And even expanding beyond just the video game side, and seeing that potentially that DEI and including accessibility could be in danger, and that private companies might be forced to stop supporting DEI initiatives. That's what I'm afraid of, because that includes disabled people too. And I definitely feel the heartbreak that everyone's has. Sorry, I didn't really mean to kind of jump into all this, but it's, I don't feel right not mentioning it and sort of ignoring it based off of like, just I want to keep this as a video game show, because again, this is a show. Yes, I get to talk about news, but it is a show like where I get to talk about things about my life. And even as a Canadian, a lot of, from a Canadian perspective, a lot of what is happening in the States, it gets reflected in Canada too, because it emboldens people who are on the far right to think that they can be able to do whatever they want. They're a lot more, they're emboldened. They're basically they're not secretive anymore. Even with potentially with our elections coming up within the next year, it looks like that we might have a conservative prime minister at some point, just based off the sentiment of the past couple of years. And who knows what that could be, what that could mean. And it's going to be a very trying 4 years, but I do have hope. Not in the sense of like, I hope that, that like Trump is going to change in his sort of way of thinking. I mean, he changes his mind on a daily basis, so I don't know. You never know what he's going to do. That's also dangerous, but I do have hope that people who care about each other will succeed in the end, will, like, I don't say come on top, because it's not about winning or losing either. We have to have hope. Hope is the thing we hold on to when there's nothing else left. Hope is even though it's scary, it's anxiety driven, the world around us, individually or just globally, can seem very bleak. Hope is what gets us through. And I think that that's what we need right now. I think we need not necessarily because we think of like hope as like looking to a shining light in the distance, and and that'll get us out. We just go towards that, and yes, that's part of it. But I think hope is what we cling on to when there's nothing left. Hope that things will get better, and I think that things will get better. I have to. So anyway, apologize for the longish rant, but we'll jump into the news. Okay. Thank you for at least um, allowing me to be able to to chat about it. And if you skipped past it to this point, I totally understand. All right, let us jump into kind of the biggest news that kind of dropped this morning from a lot of different outlets was, and this is coming from IGN by Michael Hyam. He's a fellow friend of the show, and he put out his review of the PlayStation 5 Pro. And basically, I watched his review, so I'm not going to read the full review here, but I'm going to read at least a portion of it. So he says the PlayStation 5 Pro seems like it should be more exciting than it actually is. It's without question the most powerful console you can buy right now, and the enhanced games I've been able to play ahead of launch do look great and run much more smoothly than the standard PlayStation 5. It can handle thanks to some upgraded hardware and impressive upscaling tech, but it's also completely unsurprising that the faster PS5 is, well, faster. And it's also more expensive, considering that the original PS5 can still provide enough power to run games completely or competently. Spending $700 means you have to really want the best of the best from your games to make the Pro a worthy investment. So I definitely encourage you, please go watch the video that IGN put out, and also go watch a few other videos on the reviews today. But it's a long, definitely review, and I'm not going to read all of it, just that one section. But Michael definitely, he's again a good friend of the show, and he did his review was a great review. And basically, what it comes down to is, yes, the PS5 Pro can do pretty much everything that it says that it can do. It enhances games. It allows basically quality. Like if you're trying to decide between quality and performance mode, and usually performance kind of sacrifices quality for 60 FPS. Essentially, PS5 Pro with its PSSR technology allows the games to be played in performance mode with 60 FPS, but at the same kind of quality as you would be playing in quality mode. And there are some games that are being enhanced for it. I think they said that PlayStation has announced there's over 50 games that are being enhanced currently for the PS5 Pro, and including some third parties that basically also include like Alan Wake 2 is probably the most popular one from the third parties. And I think F124, if I'm not mistaken, I think that also got a PS5 Pro enhancement as well. And both those games, just looking at kind of, when you look at the review, I don't know if I can see the difference, but I can definitely, like, at least in quality, but I can definitely see the difference in performance. I can see there are more frames. It's a lot more, animations are a lot more smoother. And I think, and even actually, Alan Wake 2 sort of takes advantage of the quality mode in the Pro and able to include better ray tracing and basic kind of like almost PC like performance on a console, and that's really cool. But it all comes down to, is it worth the price? And I think that Michael's kind of said it. It's like, if you're okay with just like what the PS5 can currently play, which is pretty much everything. They can play all the games that they enhanced at just fine. It just runs the new games at like faster and looks a little bit better. If you're fine with the PS5 and you have a PS5, I think the only time you would ever really want a Pro is if you just want the best of the best. Because right now it's a lot of money to be able to spend. In Canada, it's $959 before tax just to buy the PS5 Pro basic, like without any additional like the vertical stand or the disk drive that you can be able to buy separately. So to say like, would I still upgrade to PS5 Pro at some point? Probably. but not in the near future unless I get sent one from PlayStation, which is all. Hey, the caveat, that happens sometimes. Like literally my PS5 right now is a review unit that I got back when it first launched. So sadly, I didn't get a PS5 Pro unit to review this time around, but that's fine. And I probably would get it at some point when certain games kind of come out next year that I really definitely want to be able to play. Um, and I'm looking forward to that. But for right now, I'm fine with what I have, and I think that I'm just glad at least there's an option that if it comes down to it, upgrading is not that bad. Like if my PS5 kind of dies, or it's just getting to the point where, yeah, it's like there's more games coming out that look so much better on the PS5 Pro than it does on the PS5, then yeah, I probably will upgrade. Um, but I'm not necessarily in any particular rush. Let's just say this, I didn't feel the rush to be able to go out and pre-order it so that I can be able to have it. I'm fine with just my PS5. So we're going to stick with that. But again, to each their own. If you think that it's worth the price, 100% go for it. If you don't think it's worth the price and you think it's worth waiting or waiting until, like, I would say if you're going to get a PS5, like, and you had never bought one before, I would save up a little extra money and get yourself a Pro, because at that point you're pretty much future proofing yourself for at least the next couple of years for sure. Not to say the PS5 currently is going to go away anytime soon, but might as well go for the upgraded performance, right? So that's kind of basically where it really comes down to. So yeah, uh, PS5 Pro seems like it's a good console, just maybe not necessarily worth the price. All right, moving on to the next story. This kind of broke last night or yesterday, that are kind of basically during Japan time or whatever the time zone that they're in. Essentially, this is coming from Jordan Miller at VGC. The Switch 2 will be backwards compatible with Switch. Nintendo confirms. Get that? It confirms. In a post on Twitter, a message from Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa also announced. Wait, hold on. Nintendo's confirmed that the successor to this Nintendo Switch will be backwards compatible with the Nintendo Switch. In a post on Twitter, a message from Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa. Come on, it's getting worse. Furukawa also announced that further information about the successor to the Nintendo Switch would come at a later date. This is Furukawa, the message reads. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that the Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. The post also confirmed that Nintendo Switch Online would be available on the successor console. No further details on its implementation were announced. Earlier today, Nintendo reiterated it still intends to announce its next console hardware before the end of its current fiscal year, which concludes on March 31st, 2025. President Shintaro Furukawa made the comments during an online press conference on Tuesday following the publication of Nintendo's latest earnings results, but the executive did not add any additional details. So that's great. Now we actually have confirmation about basically about that the Switch 2 is going to be compatible with original Switch games, which means that the cartridges are going to fit, which means that the digital store is going to be the same. So it seems as if that they're definitely leaning towards that, which is, again, is the right call to be able to be backwards compatible. But also, this is new-ish for Nintendo to be backwards compatible, because the only time that ever really wasn't, or that they did go backwards compatible, is from the Wii U to the Wii. That a lot of the Wii games was playable on the Wii U. There were definitely games that were more enhanced for the Wii U and designed for the Wii U, especially with the tablet controller instead of just the remote and nunchuck. But there definitely was there definitely was a bit of backwards compatibility with some of their games. So it feels like that even though the Switch was definitely a move away from that, they did also upgrade and enhance some of the Wii games that eventually did make its way onto the Switch. But I don't know if it was the full library of the Wii games ever made it over. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that one. But the good thing is that this means that they are definitely moving more with a Switch 2 instead of a complete redesign. Yeah, we've seen sort of the mock-ups of some of the what the Switch 2 is going to look like. And we've heard obviously that they're going to be using the Joy Cons, which are more, like, seem to be potentially more magnetic than necessarily just slide in and click, which is totally fine with me. And we've talked about the Switch 2 before, and what I want for accessibility, but it's good to be able to get some confirmation that, okay, good, we are going to be able to play our old games on it, and that's awesome. Like, and honestly, here's the thing: I think they kind of need it when they have the massive amount of install bases they do. They want to be able to make sure that people's libraries will transfer over, because there's a lot of people have a huge amount of libraries on the Switch, and might as well, like it just makes more business sense to be backwards compatible. Sure, Nintendo is going to Nintendo anytime that they get, but I think this is again a good call. It's the right call, and it's a little bit more of a relief knowing that our entire Switch library is going to be playable on the new Switch. So that's just one little tick off of okay, we're like moving towards like at least a more backwards compatible future, so that we can like our digital libraries can be preserved, as it were. But this is interesting that essentially we've now gone an entire month of October, which we were supposedly the rumors were we were going to get a direct in October about the Switch successor. We didn't get it, and it looks like that they're going to be. Who knows when they're going to announce the Switch 2 or the Switch successor? There's a possibility that it potentially could be announced at the Game Awards, but Nintendo hasn't really done any like big announcements usually at the Game Awards. They're there. Like obviously that's where I met Doug Bowser last year, actually on my birthday, which was really cool. And he wished me a happy birthday, which was awesome. I got a picture of him too, which is pretty cool. But anyway, Doug Bowser's always there. Reggie Fils-Aime's always there. There are definitely some people from Nintendo that do go to the Game Awards. So it'd be interesting to see if they were able to announce something there, or are we going to have to wait until the new year? Which I'm kind of leaning towards. Like it was never fully confirmed that the Switch was going to be coming early next year. I always had a feeling that it was probably going to be mid next year, like around the summer of next year. But like around like say either May, June, July ish. But if that's if and it just seems that okay, if their fiscal is the end of March of 2025, I would probably bet if it's not going to be announced at the surprise announcement at the Game Awards, then I would say probably January, like probably mid to late January if they're going to announce it. That probably is a good time. Probably maybe early February too, if we're going to go into that. And we'll just see. Right now, Nintendo's kind of playing against their playbook. This is not a normal sort of news cycle for them. So, because this is like October is when they announced the first Switch. So either certain things have had be delayed, so they had to delay the announcement, and they probably wanted it to be in October, which is probably where the rumor started that it was going to be announced in October. But I think I would be willing to probably put a lot of I'm willing to bet it will be early next year. Definitely before March, as they said. So I would say probably January, if not the Game Awards, definitely January. So, and you know what? I think that's what kind of want to end the episode today. I'm trying to keep these short because it makes it a little bit easier for my hotel Wi-Fi to work with it. But because there's two other stories I wanted to talk about. But I think just based off of our talk earlier, I think I kind of need to end it here. Anyway, thank you so much. If you have any comments about, I've been reading some of the comments about the Pokemon Pocket yesterday. That I'm loving the fact that you all are pulling cards and that you're into it as much as I am. I love that. Love reading those comments. Let me know in the comments. Are you going to be getting a PS5 Pro? And also, are you happy now that the Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible? Let me know in the comments what you think. I would really appreciate the feedback on that one. So, anywho, that's going to be it for today. Take care. Do some self-care today, especially today of all days. And you know what? Hopefully, I will see you all tomorrow. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.